yell. So, welcome, ladies. Glad that you're here. Cheryl was saying, Ron's wife, by the way, Ron, there's the only thing better than you playing worship is you playing worship on a baby grand piano. That's just, I love that. Cheryl was, when we started, she says, this is, because I said, well, we're going to run through some of the nuggets just real briefly and share with the ladies some of the stuff that the guys hear. And she says, it's kind of like back to school night. Cheryl's Ron's wife. And so this is back to school night, so you get to have a little bit of that. The program there that Ron put together today is pretty cool. I love that. And he wanted to make sure that you had something when you go home to kind of look back on. And I think that's really, really important. I noticed he tossed my name on the front. I'm just one of many people on the Nugget team. That Greg gives nuggets, and Wes gives nuggets, and Les, etc. So I'm just one of the many on the team. So tonight I thought we'd start with asking the question, and that Christians probably struggle with answering honestly, and that is, how many of us would like to win the lottery? So let's get an honest show of hands. All right, I see some people lying back there. So, well, the truth is that if you're sitting in this room, in fact, the truth is if you're sitting on this planet right now, you've already won the lottery. You've already won the lottery. So the day you were born, God gave you a bucket, I call it, okay? And he said, welcome to life. Here is your treasure of time. And so tonight, I just want to talk to you about time and how important it is and the fact that it is the treasure. And hopefully have you leaving maybe with a new appreciation of how wealthy we all are sitting in this room right now. So we'll start with Matthew 6:19, what I call the 3 buckets of life. And again, God says, welcome to life, here's your time bucket. And when he gives it to us, it's given it to us with a slight unalterable tilt. And our time treasure begins to pour out. And we can't stop the flow of time, we cannot slow the flow of time. The only thing we can do is collect the flow of time. And we'll collect it in one of 2 other buckets, Matthew 6:19 tells us. We'll collect it in the stuff bucket, we call it, or the stories bucket. That is collected on earth, where it stays here, or we'll collect it in heaven, where our stories go with us. Our stories and our soul are inseparable. And so you can take it with you. That portion of your life you pour in the stories bucket. So the only thing I want to have you land on this one, it's a long nugget, but is the fact that time is the treasure. Time is the treasure. In fact, if you take the building blocks of a fulfilling life, and they would be faith, family, friends, and fitness. I always throw fitness in there. We need to keep our energy as we move through life. Faith, family, friends, and fitness. If you take those and you pour money over them, none of them get better. And they arguably get worse, and I have some great stories I could tell you, and you probably have some as well. But the crazy thing about it is if you take God's original raw resource, time, you don't even need to work to convert it to money. If you pour time over faith, family, friends, and fitness, they all get better. They all get better. Love requires time. Discipleship requires time. James 2:26, faith without deeds. Deeds require time. And so by extension, we could also say that faith requires time. Because if we don't have time to do the deeds, we're told that we will have a dead faith. Time is the treasure. Time is the treasure. Now in John 10:10, right, Jesus tells us that the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. Now if you're the thief, you don't want to steal trinkets. You want to steal the treasure. That's what you want to steal. You want to steal the treasure. If you're the thief and you get a person's time, you can destroy the kids. You can destroy the family. You can destroy the marriage. You can kill the joy in life. We have an epidemic of stress in our culture as we chase and pour our lives into the stuff bucket. Steal their time and you get it all. And you get it all. The crazy thing about it is the thief doesn't even need to steal our time. All he has to do is get us to waste it. Waste it. And how do we waste it? Well, Paul has something to say about that. Paul says in Romans 12:2, do not conform to the pattern of this world. This is another nugget we did with the guys, ladies, and where we showed them the pattern of this world. And here it is. You will spend 25 years of your life by the time you're 75 sleeping. 8 hours a day. 8 hours is 1/3 of a 24-hour day. So by the time you're 75, 25 years of your life will be spent sleeping. 20 years of your life will be spent working or preparing for work. And make no mistake, the educational system in our culture is preparation for production. It's a training center. You don't go to school to learn how to live, you go to school to learn how to work. 20 years. 15 years of your life will be spent watching television. Now, I shared the statistics and the sources when I did the larger nugget with the guys. We won't do that tonight, but if you want to go home and Google, you'll get the same responses. 15 years of your life. And I always like to pull the remote control out when I'm talking and make sure that the guys understand that we're not remotely controlling the television. The television is remotely controlling us. That we don't really have living rooms or family rooms anymore. We actually have watching rooms. There's not a lot of doing going on, there's a lot of viewing going on. And so we sit in our watching rooms being remotely controlled by a vision, a television from a distance. I did a much larger nugget last year where I gave the guys the 16 reasons why the television in your home is the most dangerous thing for a full, thriving, loving family. 15 years. And now, of course, mobile and web-based technologies are blowing screens. Statistics now tell us, and this will probably swap over the next 10 years as this outpaces the TV in our homes. 10 years of your life will be spent looking into your glowing screens. If you total that up, it's 70 years. 70 years out of a 75-year life will be spent sleeping, working, watching television, and looking into your glowing screens. Boy, if I was the thief, that's exactly what I'd want us doing. Nothing will steal your time more than right there. You guys want to quit a full-time job? Stop watching television and hanging out on your cell phones. It's about 45 hours a week. You just quit a full-time job. It's an amazing statistic. And so, we come over to this table, which is really the message tonight. And Paul tells us now in Ephesians 5:15-16. He says, be careful how you walk, not as unwise men, but as wise, making the most of your time. Now, Paul, our ear, if we listen to that through our cultural filter, we might hear that as a call to action, a call to fulfillment. I came that they may have life and have it to the full. He tells us in Matthew 6:19, don't pour your life into the accomplishment bucket, into the stuff bucket. Pour it into the fulfillment bucket, the stories bucket. So I encourage you to hear that a little differently. And so here's what I call God's greenhouse. And all of us men are gardeners in the greenhouse. And we all have our plants. And let's just name these plants as we did a moment ago. Faith, family, friends, and fitness. And there they are. Now, the thing about time is that what you pour this on will thrive and grow. What you don't pour this on will wither and die. It's just that simple. Stories and stuff, what you pour this on will thrive and grow. What you don't pour it on will wither and die. The crazy thing about it is, as men, we get busy and distracted in our lives, and we lose sight sometimes of these important plants in our life. Let me grab a prop here. And there it is. I stand here now and I can't see those plants anymore. I've lost sight of them. Because this plant's getting all the water. And it's taking all the sunshine from these other plants in my life. And what is this plant? Well, it's different for all of us. Maybe it's that neighborhood we've always wanted to live in. Maybe it's that house. Maybe it's that Rolex watch. Maybe it's that title in the business that we're a part of. I don't know what your big plan is, but I know that as guys, we often get stuck behind the big plan. And we lose sight of faith, family, friends, and fitness. And you can break these little plants up into smaller plants. My son, my daughter, my wife. Now here's the thing. As guys, we like to fix things. That's what we do. We fix things. And so at some point in our life, we realize that one of the plants is really sick. It's dying. That might be a a daughter that no longer talks to you at the family dinner table. It might be the fact that you can't tell if you have a belt on anymore when you look down. It might be that your marriage is, you seem like strangers in the same house. It may be that you're just stressed out of your mind. You know, what is your big plan? You know, and we want to fix it. So what we tend to do is we tend to grab this time bucket and we just pour water all over that sucker. We just pour time all over it. And if you're a gardener, you know about root rot. And that is when you overwater something, it doesn't make it better, it just makes it worse. The truth is that each of us must understand how to use our time. Paul says, make the most of your time. And that means every day. A little bit here, a little bit there, 30 minutes at the gym, a little date with my wife. And if you do that through life, you're going to find that you're going to step, I call this the greenhouse effect. You're going to be able to step back when you get older and you're going to say, wow, look at everything that blossomed and grew in my greenhouse. At home, I have a bunch of files in my little drawer, and I put things in there. So when I find something that speaks to me about time, I'll stick it in my little time folder. And one of the folders, and I'm going to refer to that in just a moment, but one of the folders in my desk is a folder where I keep little notes from my kids through the years, from the minute they could write on. And they would give me these little notes, and they always give me handwritten little notes. And I would encourage you guys especially to don't let some corporate wordsmith guy at Hallmark tell your wife how much you love them. Do it yourself. Write it in your own hand. Letters written to your kids in your hand will be in their possession 20, 30 years after you're gone. And as they move into their older years, they will prize that. But the Hallmark card will be long gone. Write it in your hand and give them your feelings. Show them your heart. And so in this folder, I have little notes from my kids, and as I look through them sometimes to get encouragement, I realize that how often they speak of the time that I spend with them. Dad, you were always there. I could always talk to you. You know, I love the fact that now I had two girls, you know, and I love the fact that they would bring situations to me that often didn't come to the husband. They often went to the mom. And while Leah was very involved in their life, they also felt that they could come and bring that to me as well. My lovely wife, Leah, right here with Cheryl. So I'm sitting there about, I don't know, Kate, my youngest daughter, was 6 or 7 years old, and she's sitting on my lap, and we're sitting in our family room at the house, and I'm reading a book, and the book is really addressing what's important to you in life. And as part of that, the author asked a question. It says, if your house caught on fire, what's the first thing you would grab? And the idea was to make you think about what's really important to you, right? And so Kate's sitting on my lap, and Leah's over here, and I looked at this question, and I said, hey, Leah, I said, if the house caught on fire, what's the first thing you'd grab? And Kate, without missing a beat, said, the hose. Yeah, that's a good answer. The first thing that I would grab is that file. The rest of the house can burn down, but I want that file. That's what life was about to me. That was what the family was about to me. I'm grabbing that file. Over in the time file I talked about a moment ago was this letter, and I read it about a year ago, and I'll read it again to those of you that haven't heard it, the ladies haven't heard it. And this may state the message tonight about the importance of time better than I've been able to do tonight. And here it is. Someone sent it to me about 10, 12 years ago. Their marriage was good. Their dreams were simple. Their best friends just a wave away. I can see them now. Dad pushing the lawnmower, mom in her apron, dish towel in hand. Leisure time back then was fix-it time. A curtain rod, the kitchen radio, screen door, the hem of a dress. Fix-it time because these things were valuable, worth fixing, worth keeping. Sometimes I just wanted to be wasteful. The TV taught me that waste meant affluence. Throwing things away was cool. There would always be newer, bigger, better.
But that day, standing, looking out the window of the hospital room, my mom, having just died on the bed behind me, I realized that some things would never be the same. I was struck with the pain of learning that sometimes there isn't any more. Sometimes what we care about most can't be fixed or replenished. It's all used up, gone. So while we have it, it's best we love it and care for it and fix it when it's broken. Heal it. Our marriages, our relationships, our families, dogs with bad hips, and aging parents. Keep them safe and loved because they're worth it. Because you're worth it. For all too soon, they'll be gone. Time. What's the treasure? It's time. What does the thief want to steal? Your time. How do you spell love? T-I-M-E. Time. About 8 hours from now, as I wrap, is a very special time in my family. It's been ever since my dad was young, and we always celebrated. 8 hours from now at 2:44 a.m., the sun starts coming back. It's the winter solstice. And just like Jesus rose, this sun is going to rise again tonight. And light will drive out darkness again. And to me, that's the beginning of the new year. That's the beginning of the new year. And so I would encourage all of you to maybe think about that tonight. And think about your time. And ask yourself about stuff and stories. What are your decisions and what are your choices? And which bucket are they? And think about your family rooms. And are they watching rooms? And are you making the most of your time? And maybe spend some time with your spouse to say, what are our 4 plants? Where are we pouring our time? I have some articles over here in a box near Ron. They're somewhere.
Right here.
Oh, they're right here in this front seat. This is an article that my wife and I cut out of a magazine on the way to Australia many years ago. And I've asked the author if I could reprint it, and he said yes. I didn't print them for tonight, but I have them from other talks that I've given before, and take them if you want them. It's the single best article I've ever read. If you're at that place in life where you have that haunting question, is this all there is? This is a life-changing article. Take it tonight, read it. It's going to make so much sense to you. You're going to have a little red spot here going like this. You know, this is, wow, this makes so much sense. I also have some WIN stickers in here. WIN, as we know, stands for What's Important Now. And I encourage you to put this on your computer, of course, while you're at work. So if your son or daughter calls and says, hey, can you make it to my game? You'll ask yourself that life-changing question, what's important now? And so, on behalf of all the guys that give nuggets to your men, I want to thank you ladies for sharing them with us. We love your guys, we love you, we love your kids, we love your families, and have a Merry Christmas.